Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermanHomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice, and this, our April 30th, where is he gone, 2019 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including the latest episode of Supergirl. We're going to be talking about another delay to Doomsday Clock, a new Batman Superman comic book monthly, and so much more. We've got so many topics to talk about. And to let you know how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my good co-host, my good friend, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Yeah, good.
Now, since WGBS... that's good. Now, since WGBS Live is all about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching us live on YouTube. So in addition to the comments that you can post as you're watching, and around the halfway mark of the show, and if we don't have too much time and technology is on our side, we'll start taking your calls. To do this, you'll need Skype. Get on Skype, find Superman homepage, message us, that's important, and if we get all our ducks in a row, we will let you know when you're going to bring you on. Now, a couple things, like I said, message us first. That's important because sometimes it screws us up. And also keep in mind that we are on a delay because, as I always say, Steve doesn't trust me. So if you have an external speaker going on, please turn that down.
Yes, indeed. So, yeah, get involved in the comments. We love everyone there on YouTube watching live. We will react to your comments throughout the show as we can. And a thank you to our sponsor and patron, Douglas Meacham. Appreciate your support. Now, Michael, we have no movie news. We like to start with movie news, but what's been new in your world? Any films that you're making? Actually, no, don't answer that question.
No, I have... Shockingly, if I wanted to do so, I probably could because we are so close to Pinewood South. It's literally kind of right down the street from us where they make all the Marvel movies and such.
Oh, wow.
So if I wanted to make my own film, I could. Plus, we have like the iPhone, so people make movies on that all the time. Though I would do it landscape. I wouldn't do it vertical because that looks terrible.
Portrait filming does not work, people. As you can see, I'm at the Daily Planet I've travelled back in time to 1978 to go to this Daily Planet setting. I believe the Globe still exists. It's in New York, isn't it?
It does.
News building,
about 2-3 years ago, a bunch of friends of mine all met up in New York, and they made a point to go to the New York Daily News. I believe it's the New York Daily News building, and took pictures of them with the in front of the Globe, and then sent them to me because they hate me. I don't know. I
want to make you jealous.
Look where we are, and you aren't.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. So I am here at the moment doing today's live show. Now, since we don't have any movie news, let's jump straight into the television side of things, where the latest episode of Supergirl aired on Sunday night there in the CW and Monday night here on Fox 8 in Australia, and it was titled American Dreamer, and you gave this episode a 4 out of 5 rating in your review.
Yeah, I didn't think it was one of the best episodes of the season, but I am so glad it was as good as it was.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I wrote in my review, and if you watch like the CW shows especially, there is always like an episode, and I noticed this on The Flash, like right towards the end of the season, where they're not quite ready to pull the trigger on the final gambit, so to speak.
Yeah.
So they always do some kind of character-driven filler episode. And most of the time you see it for what it is. Thankfully, they managed to make make Dreamers like full first episode like as kind of a solo hero work as well as it did. I'm not sold on like the whips that she creates. Like the energy constructs are a little weird, but they made her credible as a superhero, and I really appreciated that.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. I was I hadn't like I was sitting down, and my wife doesn't usually watch Supergirl with me, and she was like in the room watching, and I'm like, oh, please don't make this an episode that's just so ham-fisted and just like cringe-worthy. But it was okay. It worked pretty well. Yeah, they obviously in that interview at the end went to their go to political kind of messages that they like to do, but I thought it kind of meshed in well with what they were trying to do, even though they did mention twice that she's a trans woman, and I think you really only needed to do that once, but nevertheless it was part of the fact that she is, yes, born of an alien and a human, and is an American citizen, and born in on Earth. That makes it an interesting message that people go, oh, hang on a sec. And even Ben Lockwood's own son is starting to have second thoughts about just what's going on, although what happens at the end
Yeah.
probably will go push him back the other way.
I was really shocked that they went that far in killing Lydia. I really was. I don't. It's not like I hate the character, so I'm glad she's dead. But at the same time, it's kind of neat that they showed how far the other side would go when they're pushed. The woman that killed his wife. They took her husband and the father of her children away.
I didn't get why didn't they take her?
Yeah, This is the thing about what Ben Lockwood is doing that kind of confuses me. It's like when he shows up at Catco and wants to arrest them, it's just like they're not doing anything. They're existing. You're inciting violence. You have to. You can't just say you're inciting violence during a transmission. You can't do that because there's no that has to come after the fact. And even when it comes after the fact, it's apparently really easy to deny that your statements cause violent acts, as has been proven over the past few months. So it was like a really ham-fisted way to get him there. It was a cool sequence. I mean, Kara fighting in the dark was great, and then Jimmy showing up with super grown man James Olsen, or James Grown Man Olsen, I guess I should say. But it's been a long week and I'm tired. It made for a good scene, but it was the one part of the episode where I'm like, I'm not quite buying it. Like doing a raid on the bar, if you have put it into your BS, what is that called? What is it? Curfew.
Right.
I almost said court martial for some reason. If you've put it into your curfew that you can't gather after a certain period of time, and you have a bunch of aliens at a bar, I don't think that's a bad thing, but that is at least on a law enforcement level something that you can go and actually try to take care of. Just showing up because you don't like what they're saying is an overreach of his authority. Not that Ben Lockwood is afraid of such things. So it's just to have that happen right at the end of the episode was just like, okay, now you're really cooking here, because this pushes him into another realm as the antagonist of the season, because now he's got like real skin in the game, so to speak.
Now, I also didn't understand, and maybe it was Brainy who did it, but Kara's broadcast was just from Catco. How did she manage to get it on an illegal, broadcast thing where she was going to everybody's screen? That wasn't explained either. And was it necessary to do that?
No, I really like the message of the interview, and given how important it is that Dreamer is actually a character on a network television show, it's the kind of the reason where I kind of sat back and said, okay, I'm gonna, it is a little ham-fisted, but it to me feels accurate. It's necessary, because this is a big deal. Down the line, hopefully it won't be necessary. But just to have all that extra like things added onto it, it's just the interview. The interview is everything, because the interview is what inspires Edna, the sister of one of the Catco employees, to kind of go full whistleblower
Yeah.
on Ameritech. And let me tell you, it's really funny that they're throwing Ameritech like around like that name, and I'm like, does anybody realize that that came from the Steel comic book? This
Ah.
isn't like Star Labs, which has like a deep root. It's like because you have Superman and the New Teen Titans with that in the '80s. And Star Labs was part of the '90s Flash series as well, and was in all the animated series. It's just like Ameritech. That's kind of a deep cut for dragging out the name of an organization in the DC universe.
Oh, well, it was new to me, so I hadn't heard of it either. So that was a nice pickup there. But yeah, the episode meant well, and I think it had its heart in the right place. I just think the way they went around it and the threads that they kind of managed to pull in were just like a bit far fetched and didn't really make sense in some ways. Lena's like breaking of that code of that word was just like, what? Casnia? How did you get that?
Yeah, I think Lena's deciding based on that broadcast to finally tell Kara what's going on. That was the other part of the episode where I'm like, wow, you guys are really that's a reach
Yeah.
there. Like her having a breakdown is fine, and I kind of like that. This series, and I've talked about this since the series began. It doesn't usually let like problems between characters go beyond a certain number of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do the Smallville thing where Lana's mad at Clark for the series, but so her and Kara having a spat at the beginning of the episode, and then her coming clean at the end, and Kara being accepting of it. I was like, okay, this is some really like, I don't want to call it mature writing, but it's beyond the usual soap opera stuff that you see on shows like this. But her being inspired to do that based on Dreamer being honest about herself, that is just like, okay, I see how you got to that road, but you took some weird back alleys to get there.
And what did you make of James's story? I thought that was an emotional kind of thing of him kind of delving into some deep memories and discovering, the bullying that happened to him, and the way his sister, the revelation there for her, and how she blamed him for not being there at the funeral, and that. It was a pretty good side story, but James with superpowers is still something I'm acclimatizing to.
Yeah, it was a very well written side plot that I'm just like, okay, the only reason I'm on board with any of this is because they're doing such a good job of exploring. But unfortunately, James has become the character of the series that they don't know what to do with, so they keep throwing things at the wall for him. The fact that he popped heat vision, at one point, I'm like, okay, this is really strange. I have a feeling that it'll be probably removed at the end of the last episode of this season after he's done something to help them. But it's just so weird. But again, because it's James Olsen, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Yeah. Weird things happen. Jimmy, in the comics, in the post-crisis era, when they were past, having him be a Wolfman, he got all stretchy because of the Eradicator. So this is it's again one of the few reasons that I'm like on board with it, because it feels authentic, but at the same time, just find a direction for this character.
Yeah, give him a break. Now, I have a feeling, obviously, Kara and Lena are headed to Casnia to hunt down Lex Luthor, and we know that, as we'll discover in upcoming episode description I'm about to read, that there'll be a showdown next week between Supergirl and the Red Daughter in Casnia. I have a feeling that we're leading to the path where, yes, they'll capture Lex, yes, they'll put him away, or he'll escape or something, but Lena will discover Kara is Supergirl, and instead of accepting it because she'd revealed all her secrets to Kara about what she's been doing nefariously in the background with helping Lex, although he forced her to, she's going to go, you've betrayed my trust, I've trusted you with everything, and you haven't been able to tell me that, and the enemy stuff will start happening between them.
Yeah, it's going to either go that way, or Kara is going to straight up tell her. Like at an important moment, she's going to reveal the identity, and therefore it'll go down smoother, because she can point out to Lena, it took you a while to reveal what's with you. I know we've been friends for a couple of years now, but here's the thing. I get that there would be like, why didn't you trust me? But at the same time, that's a pretty big secret.
Yeah.
Supergirl is one of the premier heroes of this world. And to just, say, hey, I'm her. One, Lena, you've been up close with both of these people. You're a smart person. Why didn't you figure this out sooner?
Yeah.
So, I thought for a moment at the end of this episode, when they were having their moment, that Kara was going to reveal it, but it didn't happen. No. So I'm looking forward. Basically we kind of see how things might play out or could play out given past examples of this type of stuff. I mean, it's going to be revealed that the Red Daughter exists. What they do with the Red Daughter, of course, will she turn against Lex, or will she like sacrifice herself and die so we don't have to deal with her? And then public trust in Supergirl is still at an all-time low, but at least they know she wasn't the one that attacked the president. And apparently Ben Lockwood's about to get superpowers, because I think at this point you and I are going to be exposed to the Huronel and suddenly start popping heat vision and breaking things in the background.
You never know, anything is possible. So we look ahead to next episode, which is the 20th episode of season 4. It is titled, and it's probably the longest title we've seen for Supergirl to date. It is titled, Will the Real Miss Mucker Please Stand Up? Now, we have the promo for it, so let's play that right now.
Would never work with Lex.
It's not Supergirl.
Arrest them!
Is that kryptonite?
Wouldn't it be great if humans had superpowers?
My turn. Supergirl, all new episodes Sunday at 8/7 Central on the CW.
So there you have it. Yes, as you said, Ben Lockwood looks like getting superpowers. Miss Tessmacher seems to be able to split herself up into multiple versions, or that might be a holographic thing, or it could be the Superman 3 trick, where he's puts holograms of himself all around the place.
I wasn't going to say too much. Wouldn't it be funny if Ben Lockwood turns into a Doomsday character? I think that would be great. I think that would just, Smallville fans would probably just lose their minds over that.
John in the
has he
comments,
aged since Smallville?
Yeah, not much. I mean, he still looks the same.
Yeah, he's. I guess playing all those video games and being into the geek culture has been really good to him, because he is aging extremely well. And you realize that was like, what? Are we at like the 10-year mark for when he was Doomsday?
Nearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it would have been the 2008-2009 season.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it was season 8, right? Yeah. So weird.
John in the comments is saying he thought Ben Lockwood already had powers. No, he was just playing Agent Liberty and using his muscle as far as the men around him and the people around him as as an army to beat up aliens and collect them. So no, he did not have any powers up until now. I'm guessing now that he knows what James, pretty much broke his hand getting that gun off him in this episode that we just watched. He's going to figure, he said, we're going to find out how you've done this. And so he'll obviously figure out that there is a serum out there that Lena had created, and he will obviously inject himself with that.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be his downfall, because he's going to go way too far in what he's doing. So it's neat. We're what, 3 episodes left in the season?
2021,
this one and 2 more. So, we're really in the home stretch, and it looks like they're saving some of the bigger, kind of bolder things for the last couple of episodes.
And speaking of the last couple of episodes, episode 21, so the penultimate episode of this season, is titled Red Dawn, and the description for this one reads, Kara comes face to face with Red Daughter, and the two engage in an epic battle. It says, determined to find a way to extract the Hurinel, Lena turns to an unlikely source for help, Lillian Luthor. Meanwhile, Alex realizes she's missing parts of her memory, and Brainy, Nia, and John set out to track down aliens who have been abducted by Lex.
Yeah, I have a feeling by the end of the season she's going to remember, that Kara is Supergirl and Supergirl is her sister, and she can't be mad because she was the one that told them to do it. So. Yeah,
I wish we'd recorded that conversation so that we can prove it to her. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's weird. I was typing up the review, and I'm just like, wow, only 3 more of these over the next week. Then I got a couple months where we don't have to worry about it. What are we going to talk about on the show?
We always seem to manage, but it will be a little bit quieter. Actually, Krypton will be back, so we'll have those episodes to talk about.
Yeah, I guess I'll actually have to watch it. Unlike last season.
Yeah. All right. Well, turning to the comic book world, Action Comics 1010 was released on April 24th, this past Wednesday, and it was part 4 of the Leviathan Rises saga, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with art by Steve Epting. Our reviewer Mario Benisi gave this a 3 out of 5, saying, I don't think this story is bad, but it's definitely a slow burn.
Again, I get where Mario's coming from, and I'm not going to say he's wrong because, it's a comic book. It's a stupid thing to tell somebody that they're wrong about. But, this feels right on point for Bendis. If you've ever read, read his early New Avengers work back when they started that series, and see how long it took stories to play out. I think he's filling it enough with enough cool stuff. Like that whole first scene with Mr. Bones was great, and figuring out that wasn't Kate Spencer, and having the villain do what the villain does, and playing with the idea that Lois and Superman are in disguise, but not getting lost in it because he's Superman by the end of the episode, by the end of the issue-sode again. And Tiger's just like, he was always Superman? So I think because this is all the lead up, this is the rise of Leviathan. So we're only getting into getting to the main course. So I rather enjoyed the issue. I think it was a very satisfying read, and I thought it had some really great character beats to it.
There's some of the things I took out of this, as you've mentioned, Tiger seeing Clark in disguise as Chad or Chaz or whatever his name was, but an agent of Spiral as far as he was concerned, turning into Superman, kind of throws a bit of the secret identity away from Clark Kent, if anybody ever had any kind of ideas, because now this guy thinks that somebody else is Superman.
Yeah, it's it's the whole thing at the end of the last issue where he took on this identity was that was just for the sake of a good cliffhanger ending, which is something I kind of appreciated because it shows that Bendis is considering both audiences for the stories, considering the people who wait for the trade or the collected edition, but he's also, for the people that are buying it on a monthly basis, he's giving you things that make you want to pick up the next issue. So I'm kind of glad they dropped it as early as they did. I also like the scene with Jimmy and Amanda Waller.
Keeps taking
where he's just like, you're Leviathan. Just this whole thing where we don't know who this is, so it literally could be anybody.
Exactly.
And I kind of appreciate that.
Now, was that Talia al Ghul?
It might have been,
Spencer, Kate
sorry
Spencer.
that it could have been. I mean, attractive brown-haired women all tend to look the same
In comic books.
in comics.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a definitive actress playing her.
Mm.
So it's possible it is, but I don't think if it is, it's not just her.
Yeah.
I would assume.
So that was issue 1010 or 1010 of Action Comics, and we look forward to seeing where Leviathan takes us in the coming weeks and months. Now, a big announcement that dropped yesterday, the day before, from DC Comics was that a new Batman Superman comic book monthly series is about to hit shelves starting, I think it's in August 14th, issue 1 arrives. What did you make of this announcement?
It's funny. I was just like, ooh, a Batman Superman book. We're going to call it Batman Superman, even though in the rotation it should be Superman Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
But, whatever, DC. But it's just like, and then I saw the character from Metal, and I'm like, ooh. And then I'm reading the article, and it's just like, it's going to be darker, it's going to be grittier, it's going to change things in the DC universe. I'm like, you are not selling me on this book at all. I like the idea of Superman and Batman teaming up. I like the idea of them being friends and not being adversarial. But I think in this day and age, and even going back to 2004, I think what Jeff Loeb established for Superman Batman was that isn't an ongoing book. That isn't a book that is tied. You can do stories tied to the DC universe, but that's the summer blockbuster storyline. And having this so tied into, like, do I now need to go read all of Metal to understand what's going on in this book? And, to be fair, DC is constantly putting the Metal series. I mean, I was laughing earlier today because the two big sales that DC has on Comixology for this week are a DC Villains sale to kind of coincide with what's coming up on Free Comic Book Day, and the DC Zombies sale, to tie into Deceased coming out. I'm just like, that's a bit on the nose, but it just made me realize that the Metal thing has been like on the sale list like forever. So if I want to read it, I can do it cheaply, but I really at this point don't want to have to read like 15 other series just to understand a Batman Superman book.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough one because like you, I haven't read DC Metal. I have no idea about the Batman Who Laughs. I know he's from that alternate Earth, and so yeah, I'm like you. I'm like, okay, do I need a refresher? Do I need a kind of a wiki page on who the hell this story is all about? I will be reading it because Batman Superman team ups are always a lot of fun, and we've got the likes of Joshua Williamson writing it with art by David Marquez, and it seems like it's something that will impact on the wider DC universe, but yeah, I'm just kind of wondering whether or not they'll explain things before we get into it.
Yeah, I'm hoping that if they will have something within the dialogue or something to kind of give people who are just going to be picking this book up. I mean, it's a big release. It's about 2 different covers. It looks like, because of course it is. It's like they're slowly. DC seems to be backsliding a little bit into where they were in the New 52 and like right before the New 52, where everything was really dark and depressing. It's like, okay, we've had enough of everything being kind of full of hope and having more traditional takes on these characters. Let's break everything again, because it's all we know how to do. And that Comixology, those 2 Comixology sales, just further prove to me that they're just recycling these ideas that they did some like less than a decade ago or around a decade ago. It's crazy, but that's where they are. And maybe somebody on Twitter tonight was telling me that Deceased isn't in continuity. I thought it was.
So
I thought this was a big event. So why are you even doing it? Well, it's because the idea of a zombie apocalypse in the DC universe was too tantalizing to not do again.
Perhaps. Now, in this Batman Superman monthly series, the two heroes hunt down 6 infected heroes in the DC universe. People revealed to be infected by the Batman who laughs, with a deadly pathogen that violently transforms them into the evilest versions of themselves. Dark Knight and the Man of Steel must journey into the depths of Gotham City to learn which of their fellow heroes has been transformed into the horrifying horseman of their most dangerous and deranged foe ever. Wow.
Guarantee you Nightwing is on that list.
Yeah.
Guarantee you Nightwing. Given what they did with Wally West, I would not be surprised.
Interesting. Maybe Supergirl as well for Superman.
Really? Oh, come on.
Now, as we've said, this hits shelves. The #1 issue hits shelves August 14th, so a couple of months away, and I'm sure they'll build up to that with some more interviews and more material to come out before that hits. So look forward to Batman and Superman uniting to uncover the Secret Six, as it says there in the heading. Alright, we're going to take a quick break. We've just reached over the halfway point of tonight's show. We're going to play some messages and then come back on the flip side to talk about what the hell's going on with Doomsday Clock. Back right after this.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
I'm freezing! Superman!
Uh-oh, sounds like Lisa and Scott are trapped in the icy cave of that frosty-faced villain, Captain Cold. This is a job for Superman.
My fast freeze zapper will freeze Superman forever.
No way, Captain. Here, kids, my new Superman Hot Cocoa Mix is the super tasting way to warm up.
It's really sweet. And chocolatey.
And see, Captain Cold can't take this warm reception. New Superman Hot Cocoa, the super tasting way to warm up.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live, where, as Michael mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you do want to get on tonight to talk to us, look for us on Skype, search for Superman Homepage, message us, and we'll endeavour to get you on before the end of the show if you want to chat to us about anything we've been talking about or any other Superman topic you might want to discuss. Alright, as I mentioned before the break, Doomsday Clock has been delayed yet again. It doesn't surprise anybody really, because this thing has been just delayed and more delays. Number 10, which was supposed to ship March 27th, has been postponed had been postponed until May 29th, and that's when it will come out now. Issue 11, which was supposed to be May 22nd, is now August 14th, and God knows when issue 12 will come out, probably 2035.
Yeah, I saw a great meme the other day of Nick Fury at the end of the first Captain America film that says, "You've been asleep so long, the last 2 issues of Doomsday Clock have already come out." And the fact that they've also solicited and announced when the first trade is coming out, because of course they're going to do 2 trade paperbacks, because they're going to do 2 hardcovers, then 2 soft covers, then they're going to do a deluxe edition that's oversized. chances are there's an absolute of this thing in the future, and then they're going to package it with the original Watchmen somehow. This is just a guess, but yeah, it's just like, what. This whole thing was supposed to be wrapped up by now, pretty much.
Oh, well,
because originally it was a month.
Yeah, if it had been on schedule, it would have concluded 12 issues in December of 2018.
Yeah, so then you go, bi-monthly, fine. That stretches things out a bit. Probably screws up some releases or some plans or whatever. But then it's just like it's just going to keep getting delayed. Where are the delays here? Now, I know that Jeff Johns is dealing with the kind of the television side of things. There's a picture of him out on social media right now where he's posing with the girl playing Stargirl, which is sweet. But at the same time, it's just like, this is the only book you're writing right now. And it's an important book because it's one of DC's bigger books. And what you're doing when you and I know there are people that are like, it doesn't matter because the trade paperback will come out and it's going to live as that for all eternity. But what that means is that you're willing to, jerk your audience around for 2 years so that an audience that isn't there yet will find it one day. And that seems completely disrespectful to the people that are buying and reading this comic.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't have put it better myself. And I don't think Gary Frank's doing much else either at the moment.
Yeah, it just bothers me that this is what they're doing, and they're not really explaining it either. I mean, is there a health issue here?
Yeah, say something.
I mean, at least in that, we'll be like, okay, we're going to cut you some slack, but in the absence of nothing, people are going to fill in their own narratives, and it just. Especially with the way the last issue left off, by the time I've talked to a bunch of people who are reading this book that basically have to almost reread the entire series when a new issue comes out because they've forgotten everything that happened because other things in life are going on. Not everybody's not just waiting with bated breath and hanging on every letter of the previous issue. There's a couple other things that people are probably doing in the meantime. So it's just
exactly
it just bothers me because we should be beyond this by now. We should be 100%. At a point where DC's just like, we're a professional publishing company. We need to hit our deadlines.
And then they come out with the announcement, as you said, that there is a collection coming out in October. You've got Part 1 of Doomsday Clock will see issues number 1 to 6 collected together for an October release, and then Part 2 will collect the final issues of 7 to 12 for a May 2020 release. I have my doubts that issue number 12 will come out by then.
That's the thing. I mean, are we going to have like issue 12 hit and then next week the collected edition hits? I mean, it's just, I get that publishers don't owe us anything. We're the ones buying the books. We're the ones making the decision to continue giving them money. But at the same time, when you keep delaying books like this, where is the incentive to buy it on an issue-by-issue basis? Should we just wait till 2020? And will you even care a year from now?
Now, Venkman in the comments says DC, Marvel, and every other comic book company needs to learn that if they're going to have a huge multi-part event, wait until you have more than 50% of the story in the can before you release it. Personally, I reckon wait until you have 100% of it in the can before you release it. Because I don't trust them.
I go back to what a friend said when he was posed the question, do you want it on time or do you want it, good? And he's like, both. It's not up to us as the audience to accept, one or the other. That's basically the publisher looking at you and going, well, it's your fault if you're upset. It's pushing the blame and it's not taking responsibility for what they're doing. I remember back in 2007 when there was like a month or two where there were no Superman books on the stands. It was just like nothing was going on, and Matt Idelson did one of those DC Nation things where he's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? Your job. You're paid considerably more than me to do what you're doing. Figure it out.
100%. I can't agree with you more. All right, well...
I'm a little angry tonight. I don't know.
We have a look at the comic books that are coming out this week, and there are a few in the world of Superman to look forward to. It's a pretty big month in the world of DC at the moment, and this is what we do have coming out this week. We have Adventures of the Super Sons, number 10 of 12. That is coming out this week.
Fold out thing. Let's take that and make Lois a zombie.
What can you do? Oh well. And also we have Justice League number 23 out this week, and that is available in this variant cover. We also have Year of the Villain number 1, which is available in a couple of variant covers as well. There is the Lex Luthor one. So yes, definitely all about the villains at the moment. Young Justice number 5 is also out this week, and that is available in this variant cover. And then we've got a couple of collections. We've got Justice League by Christopher Priest, Deluxe Edition hardcover, and Kingdom Come Black Label Edition trade paperback. Yes.
Yeah, because there's a book that has never been reprinted, so that's important, I think.
Yeah,
it's a nice. It's one of the nice repurposing of the art for that cover, though. That's pretty handsome.
Yep. All right. Well, it's the last Tuesday of the month, so we are going to jump into our regular monthly segments with the super secret soundbite and the big question. Let's start with the big question. Let me play the intro right now.
Let's start with the big question.
All right, so last month's big question was, what did you think of John Crye's performance as Lex Luthor on the Supergirl TV series? We only had 2 respondents. Who was the first one, Mike?
First one was Ron Crosby, who wrote, I totally get that I'm in the minority, but I'm not a fan. It was too corny for me. Chess pieces to get him out of prison, lasers in his driveway, giving himself cancer, just way too 80s or 90s like to me. Of course, this is more about the character in the show, not the actor himself. He only did what was asked, after all. I'm not a fan of any live-action Lex, though. I'm not a fan of any live-action, except Rosenbaum. He nailed it.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ron. Appreciate your opinion. We also had John Van Pelt write in saying, I've really enjoyed John Crye's performance as Lex Luthor on Supergirl this season. I'm hoping next season or in the future a team with Lex Luthor, Metallo, also known as John Corbin, and Brainiac will take place. I'd like to see how Kara could handle 3 villains in an episode, just like how they did with past Superman TV shows, and wonder how the CW would bring it to life. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. Brainiac especially.
So if those two are kind of a representative, collection of opinions on the thing, it's split right down the middle.
50-50. All right. So what's our new big question for this upcoming month?
Oh, did I close out that document? Because I closed out that document.
Sorry
about that.
That's okay. The new big question is, what did you think of the Justice League versus the Fatal 5 animated movie? Let us know your thoughts by getting involved in the big question segment of our show. All you have to do is go to the Superman homepage website, look under the contact menu, and you'll find the big question feedback form, and you'll be able to let us know what you thought by an email. You can also record yourself as either a video or audio message, and we will endeavour to play that here on the last Tuesday of May when we get back together for these segments. Have you seen the Fatal 5 animated movie?
No, it's on the app, so I keep meaning to get around to it. But last week I was just buried in prep for something I was working on, And this week I just haven't been feeling all that good, so it's been kind of a weird week for me. Plus, I'm kind of distracted by Cobra Kai season 2. I watched the first episode, and I'm like really trying to decide: do I want to be one of those people that does the monthly, the month preview that you get for free, binge both seasons, and then cancel it? But yeah, actually, the first episode was really good. I continue to be impressed with that series. So I just got to get my head back into the game. The one thing that is keeping me from really being like super excited about it is hearing that they're doing the bad language thing, which just feels really out of place. Some people were complaining that the language is a little raw at times.
I did hear maybe SHITs, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's just. I'm sorry. When you, if you're gonna do that, go back and actually have Superman tell Darkseid to go to hell in the beginning of the second season, because at least that makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, I'm looking forward to it though, because it's the Legion. It's Jessica Cruz. It looks really good.
All right, well, let's jump into the super secret soundbite. And again, this is frozen up for me, and I think we kind of went offline for a little bit, for maybe 10 seconds or so. I'm trying to get this to be cooperative, but so foregoing the intro because it just won't play for me at the moment. The super secret soundbite last month came from the movie Superman 2. I will play it again for you once this software unfreezes. But we only had one person guess it right. We had a few other people try to guess at it. But Mike Zumo was the only person who guessed that the sound came from Superman 2. And let me play that for you right now.
Jumping in the river, waiting for Mr. Wonderful.
That was it. Lois Lane talking about jumping in the river, waiting for Mr. Wonderful, coming from Superman 2. So let's see if more people can guess where in the world of Superman this new super secret soundbite comes from.
Wow, big points for punctuality, Smallville. But what's with the wardrobe malfunction?
So there you have it. Do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound came from? If you do, get involved in the Super Secret Soundbite segment of our show by going to the Superman homepage website, finding the Super Secret Soundbite entry form under the Contact Us menu, and sending your entry in. We will read out the names of each person who guesses it right at the episode at the end of May. Any ideas on that one, Michael?
It's a complete mystery to me.
Yes,
because I
you
can't
couldn't hear
it.
Very good. Get involved in both the Big Question and Super Secret Soundbite segments of our show, and that gets us to the end of those segments for another month. So please get involved. It's on the downward swing as far as people getting involved in those segments. If you don't continue to participate in them, then we'll just kind of maybe they go the way of the dodo, and no use kind of putting in the effort to find those sounds and get those things in order if people really aren't interested in them. So please get involved in those segments if you want to see them continue.
Yeah, things kind of evolve on these like the shows and such. So maybe it was more of a thing when it was a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
So, and then that's not a bad thing.
No. We had live guests and all these kinds of things once upon a time, and now the kind of show's evolving all in different ways. So, I've even got some music if we have time to come up. But I just wanted to mention the Dear Justice League book, that DC Zoom imprint, which is coming out on August 6th. DC released a promo trailer for it, which I will play for you right now, and I like the look of this. This is kind of really cute. Have a check it out. This is Dear Justice League, the promo trailer, which I thought I had lined up. Yeah, there it is right now. there you have it, dear Justice League. Superman, do you ever stuff up? Batman, Aquaman, do you smell like fish? And Hawkgirl, do you eat small mammals? So yeah, it's a book written by Michael Northrop, illustrated by Gustavo Duarte. It's available everywhere books are sold on August 6th. You can pre-order it now through the Superman homepage website for both trade paperback and digitally. So make sure you check that out on our website right now.
Yes, looks amusing at the very least.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the Justice League. Now, as I mentioned, a bit of music. The April 30th is International Jazz Day. So I'm a big fan of jazz music, and I found I just happened to get in the car one day, turn on this jazz digital radio station that I've got programmed in the car, and I heard this. I'll play it for you, and you'll see what I mean. This is what I heard. I just got in the car and I heard this.
Faster than a speeding bullet.
More powerful than a locomotive.
Able to leap tall buildings in a single bound.
Look, up in the sky. It's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Superman.
So that's part of what I heard, and I was just like, what? What's this intro for Superman? I've never heard this intro before. Why is it being played on this station? And I found out that it's an album that was released late last year by a jazz musician called Randy Waldman. He has an album called Superheroes, and pretty much what it does is it consists of wild and inventive jazz arrangements of the best superhero themes from film and television. There's even this version of Superman the movie. So that one was an arrangement of Superman the movie done by George Benson. Probably a name that musician or music fans would be familiar with, and it's just an interesting collection of superhero themes done in the style of jazz. And Randy was kind enough to allow me to place them on the website and also play them here on this program. So that anyone who's interested could go ahead and purchase the album. The Spider-Man track even won an award, so it's some kind of what's one of the music awards there. I wrote it down somewhere there, but pretty cool collection of music for superhero themes.
Yeah, the Adventures of Superman theme sounds like really like. I would never think of doing it like that, but it sounds like a lot of fun. So I'll probably be picking this album up because it's just that's just and looking at some of the guest people along with it. You got Michael Bublé and Josh Groban. So it's just it seems to be a pretty solid collection.
Yeah, some comments in the which I'm not going to even look at them. People don't appreciate jazz music, don't know what they're talking about as far as I'm concerned. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, jazz is, I honestly think jazz is one of those things you either get or you don't. Like, I like jazz music, going, contemporary jazz or classical, more classical jazz. I just think there's something kind of almost relaxing about it.
Yes, 100%.
When done right, it's the kind of thing, it's not the kind of thing that you like want to like exercise to, but if you're just sitting at home and you're trying to relax, putting on a jazz album is probably one of the best things you can do.
Yeah, can't agree more. All right, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's program. Before we do finish off, I'd like to thank everyone for watching WGBS TV Live, and thank you to everyone in the comments there on YouTube for your participation, and a huge thank you to our sponsor and patron, Douglas Meacham. Appreciate your support. And remember, if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, then all you have to do is head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you too can be a sponsor for as little as $3. Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate your involvement in tonight's show, as always.
Yeah, no, pleasure as always, Steve.
Now, the complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it back or perhaps miss part of the show. But we'll be back next week on Tuesday, May 7th at 7:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com. Make sure you tune in then, and we will see you next week. I'm Steve Eunice, and on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.